Hello everyone! Welcome to day 18, Obfuscation, the Eggshell File. Today's video is from The Social Dork and Tech Eliza. On today's story we have even more drama. More particularly, McSkidy happened to find an interesting email. An email posing as North Pole HR. But that was weird because there is no North Pole HR. They're all in the South Pole. Oh no, what could this possibly be? Then she dug a little bit more, and she found out a tiny PowerShell file from that email was downloaded. Oh no. The code had just random characters, it was all nonsense. But she knew that something was wrong. It was obfuscation. And so today, we will learn what obfuscation is. And use CyberChef. And CyberChef is awesome, as we know. So let's start the target machine. Today we only need the target machine. And let's go in. So what is obfuscation? Obfuscation is basically trying to hide, or in this case, transform what you're trying to do in a way that for people that are just seeing it for the first time, it will just look like nonsense, but it means something. And this can be applied to a whole lot of things. You can obfuscate your activity, you can obfuscate malware. So instead of having plain code of the executable, you obfuscate it in a way that would work on a computer, but if someone tries to read it, it makes no sense. John Hammond has these great videos where he is trying to understand how malware works. So he reviews malware samples, and most of these malware samples have these amazing obfuscation techniques where you try and read it and it just makes absolutely no sense. But that is code that can be executed in your computer. And yeah, so if you are interested in malware and want to see John Hammond amazing skills on deobfuscating some of the malware, others techniques that they use he also explores, but yeah, he also has a component of obfuscation. And back to the exercise, they give the example here. Imagine that you have an automatic security tool that blocks files that have the word the bandit yeti, but to avoid this they can just use techniques to obfuscate what they're trying to do. In this case, they can use a cipher technique, which is called ROT1. We used ROT13 in last day when we were unlocking the gates. And what it does is it shifts each letter forward by one in the alphabet. So A becomes B, B becomes C, and so on. And they give the example that if we have this phrase, carrot coins go brr, it becomes HPCSS. Amazing. And yeah, they refer ROT13 here. So instead of only one space, it goes 13 spaces. They also refer XOR, which we also saw in the last video, which is another technique to obfuscate. And they explain it here. I'm not even going to try because it will be painful. So yeah, so they want us to open CyberChef. Very nice. And yeah, they give an example here. And they're saying that the good thing about well-known obfuscation techniques is once you can tell which it is, it's easy to reverse. Yeah, and they say here there is some quick visual cues that you can find. So ROT1, if the words look one letter off, so it would make sense. The word would make sense if it was one letter before. ROT13, they say that we can look for 3-letter words. Common examples is D, which becomes GR, and which becomes NAC, and spaces stay the same. Base 64, which we also use, and it's long strings just containing mostly alphanumeric characters, and XOR. It's more tricky, looks like random symbols, but stays the same length as the original. Okay, I didn't know this, nice. Yeah, and they tell us here that once we have a clue of what's going on, we can use CyberChef. Oh, please don't click the malware. Unfamiliar patterns. Yeah, they have the magic recipe, which automatically guesses and tries common decoders for you. It can be really useful if you have absolutely no clue of what's going on. And then we have layered obfuscations, which we also saw on the video, which is a lot of different processes to encode, hash, do crazy stuff with the strings in this case, and get them all looking like weird gibberish. And they give an example here. So a script that threat actors want to hide can be compressed with gzip, XORed with an X key, then finally base 64 encoded, and it will produce this code. So if we try to reverse it, we will have this. So what they do is, with the malware, they give a deobfuscation tool at the same time. And this is how they do it. They pass the tool that makes it into code, and then the code is executed. They tell us here that luckily McSkidy detected something fishy in the email. Aha, see what I did there? And then she extracted the PowerShell script from the PDF and put it in an isolated VM. If you are analyzing malware, it's important to isolate your VM so that your computer doesn't get hacked. So they want us to open the stealer, Santa Stealer PS1, which is a PowerShell script. So they want us to open. Okay, I was just checking. It's always good to check how that file will open. Okay, they give us here the examples. So they want us to deobfuscate. Let's try and use magic so that you can see how it works. Yeah, and they give us here. We know it's from base 64 because they tell us. But just for you to know how the magic recipe works from CyberChef. Okay, and we know what the URL is. In a lot of cases with malware, there is this URL, and the objective of that URL is serving as a server to exfiltrate the data that you get from the computer that you are trying to hack into. So I think this is what they do here. Now they want us to encode this. I couldn't copy, so I had to write everything by hand, unfortunately. But yeah, I think it is. I just did the steps, and now, okay, so I needed to not do this. I did it all together, not do the same mistake as me. Yeah, and then we need to execute Santa Stealer. And we got one. Aha, very nice. Okay, then we go back to the script. We put the eggs back, and then we run again, I think. No, okay. So we need to click the validator. So it looks like on the 2 eggs section, you need to say none instead of space. And like that, you get this, which should be the correct key. Now, we just put it here. We saved it. Let's try the script again. Aha, and we got the second key. So yeah, be careful on the second step and paste the key. And voila, it's done. It was a very short room. Hope you guys like it, and I'll see you tomorrow.